So next up is Jeannine Hall Gailey, whom I have a theory about. I have a theory, and to test it, I have to go to, I'll have to go to 3 of your readings, you know, because with any good hypothesis, according to the scientific theory, you have to test it 3 times. And the theory is this, is that Jeannine Hall Gailey is the offspring of a robot scientist. It's the only way to explain how this poet does so much. For instance, she is the author of 3 books of poetry, Becoming the Villainess, She Returns to the Floating World, and Unexplained Fevers, out from New Binary Press this spring. Her work has been featured on NPR's The Writer's Almanac, Verse Daily, and in the year's Best Fantasy and Horror. Her poems have appeared in the American Poetry Review, the Iowa Review, and Prairie Schooner. She volunteers for Crowd Creek Review, and she's the Poet Laureate of Redmond. However, there's pause to wonder at my theory because of the sort of tender and human, painfully human quality captured in her prose. Jeannine Hall Gailey.
Throw you into the thing there. Thanks you guys for being here tonight. And since this is a lot of crowd of the Jack Straw people, I thought I'd read some things maybe you guys haven't heard before. So I am a robot scientist's daughter, that is true. That's the name of my next book. Hopefully, cross your fingers, I'm in talks with some publishers now, so hopefully soon. So I'm going to read I thought I'd read a couple of poems from each of my 3 books and then a new one. So this first one is called Female Comic Book Superheroes. Female comic book superheroes are always fighting evil in a thong. It's true, man. Pulsing techno soundtrack in the background as their tiny ankles thwack against the bulk of male thugs. With names like Buffy, Elektra, or Storm, they excel in code decryption, Egyptology, and pyrotechnics. They pout when tortured, but always escape just in time, still impeccable in lip gloss and pointy-toed boots, to rescue male partners, love interests, or fathers. Impossible chests burst from tight leather jackets, from which they extract the hidden scroll or antidote, tousled hair covering one eye. They return to their day jobs as forensic pathologists, wearing their hair up, donning dainty glasses. Of all the goddesses, these pneumatic heroines most resemble Artemis, with her miniskirts and crossbow, or Freya, with her giant gray cats. Each has seen this apocalypse before. See her perfect 3-point landing on top of that chariot, riding the silver moon into the horizon, city crumbling around her heels. So, yes, I felt a little apocalyptic when I was walking through the traffic on the way here today. Oh, everything is... No, just all the cars in front. We had a car like literally stall out while we were driving right in front of us, like that. We're gonna die, but we didn't. We made it here. We're fine. So the next 2 poems are from my second book, which is all based on Japanese folk tales and anime culture. So this is called Anime Girl Delays Adulthood. She may or may not have burned down her school, but you know she likes to strike matches, throw them in a circle around her, pray to some unknown god of fire. Broken, you think she must be in high school. Her skirt is too short, her hair still in pigtails, feeding stray cats and playing video games under a bridge. You watch her rinse out her socks. Barefoot in the water, her lips pursed, she peruses her surroundings, surreptitiously sneaking shots of ruined warehouse in the distance with a camera, an eerie glow on the horizon. You wish her the best. You hope she leaves and never comes back. You hope for a kiss, a sandwich, a burned thumb. You were never right for her. She was always on the lookout for an easy out, the last train to nowhere, the final frame. So, yes, thank you. So another adventure of the anime girls is I saw an ad on a website, one of the geeky websites, and it says she'll give you an arm and a leg, and had the figure of a cyborg girl with a metal arm and a metal leg, which I thought was somewhat horrifying, so I decided to write about that. The lost limbs of anime girls in space. Somehow, in these futuristic worlds, we have always left an arm and a leg behind, as if these amputations made us seem more accessible, a portion of our torsos beneath the torn top visible, a glimpse of shining silver. Our hair still charmingly tousled, we are victims of some civil war or village atrocity conveniently unwritten, forgotten now, military campaigns hidden in our pasts. Only these reminders that we might not be entirely human, merely a ghost caught in a metal shell. She'll give you an arm and a leg, we joke, while we wake in the night to scratch phantom skin, the joint between flesh and machine always aching, our souls affixed in some permanent alchemy to this heavy metal. So two from the new book, that's Unexplained Fevers. It's all fairy tale stuff, and I think some of you have heard one of these before, so I apologize if you are getting a repeat. And it's my favorite one to read, which is why I keep reading it. I forgot to tell you the most important part. Without this knowledge, you'll never make it. It's 1 part fashion advice and 2 parts survivalism. Learn to talk to people so they think you're honest, but never be honest. Cooking eggs may save your life, so crack them neat and firm, pour into the skillet and stir gently. Forget about your shoes. People will judge you by your shine, the imminent light you offer them. Be a lamppost in the wilderness, be the elephant in the showroom. If you steal the idol, make sure to carry a weighted bag of sand. No surprises, we've lied about having it all. It's either the piano or the pit viper. Cinderella's shoe came off at midnight because it hurt, and Red Riding Hood's real story involves cannibalism and a striptease. Don't wear red lipstick. Don't you kiss your mother with that mouth. Long bangs hide a multitude of sins. Ask your grandmother about the herbs she used to swallow while pregnant. The butterflies here didn't start out black. They were white as onion skin, and the forest more ominous before the smokestacks. Well, here's your little basket and red coat. Sweetheart, sweet meat, smile like you mean it, shake what you've got while you've got it, go out into the world and knock them dead. Very important. I think that's what Grimm's fairy tales are all about. They're all about surviving the story, I think. So this is called She Decides Not to Look Back. So, you've come all this way, colored your hair, and still the disguise doesn't stick. The way the snakeskin slithers up your side, you'd never know your bag and boots begging to tell another story. And mother, is it a good one? We started out in a small town pregnant. We started out on the road on our own. We left behind brothers and sisters that needed us. We wanted to see the city lights. We wanted to bring home a father, a lover, a new name. We grew tamer by lamplight. Tease your hair and grow talons, but your soft breath just escapes. Remember your hometown, that accent you lost, the school counselor who told you to give up and get married. Remember the childhood friend who burned himself to death, the one who fried his brain, you knew you couldn't save. You have your 6 degrees of separation. You were lucky you ran when you did, with just the change in your pocket. So, yes, this is my final poem. This is a great bookstore, by the way. I don't know if the bookstore people are still around. Thanks for being here. It was a great store. All right, so this I've been doing this introduction, kind of a post-apocalypse poetry about kind of set up as an introduction to, so like teaching things. So this is Introduction to Disaster Preparedness. And the really funny thing about disaster preparedness is you can't really ever prepare for disaster. But they have a government job, so it's good. Introduction to Disaster Preparedness. When you told me about the bee colony collapse caused by cell phones or maybe Monsanto, I was thinking about a friend who said they found the lump, and another friend finishing chemo and waiting for a scan, and a third who said, my hair is a disaster, and she meant the layers would take forever to grow out. My house is a disaster, she says, my yard, my outfit. When you told me my son is autistic, I thought of his bright eyes and beautiful tears. It's not the life you planned. How our minds and bodies spin apart like hives of bees confused about whom to follow, flying further and further out to discover what? That they'd flown too far and now are frozen, flightless. How many hives abandoned? We cannot sleep too far from disaster zones. I saw a tornado once in my own front yard. I slept through hurricanes, knelt during earthquakes. Did I pray? Did I ask for something then? I only held my breath and later asked, "Are you okay?" I said, "Everything's temporary." Thank you very much.